Well, here we are. Right now we are right down around Governor's Island and the Statue of Liberty. We're back out here sailing. So right now I have 3 knots of current running down towards me in the East River. I need to catch a slack tide right at Hell's Gate. And if anybody knows Hell's Gate, it's this bend. I don't know if you can see it. It's that bend right past right next to Ward's Island in Harlem. The Harlem River comes right into it, and it causes a whole bunch of issues. Lots of current. I mean, there can be 6 knots of current running through there at one time. So right now I'm out here in the Hudson floating. I'm trying to time it. I think if I start at the bottom, I've got 8 miles to there. Running at 3 knots of current, that's going to cut me down to probably 3 knots, maybe 4 knots. I'm not sure. It's better if I go into the rising tide somewhat, because when the tide's rising and you've got a river coming one way, it makes pretty gnarly, choppy waves. So, but in the beginning of a rising tide, it's not running as fast, so it won't be so bad. But right now it's all timing. It's 10:50, 10:15. I think I can start heading up that way in about 15 minutes. Because the tide's going to be going away, that means it's going to be slowing down. That means I'm going to speed up. So right now with a 3 knot current, it's going to take me 2 hours, but in realistic sense, it's probably going to take about an hour and a half. Maybe about 2 hours. So maybe I should head up there now. Hell with it. Let's start going. A little bit off on that. It's actually 12:30 is when the slack tide is. A good thing about Navionics is it has current flow and tide flow, or tide charts and current flow. It's pretty accurate. As much as I've been out here sailing in the Hudson, it seems to be right on. Pretty close to right on. So 8 miles, if I average 4 knots, that's 2 hours. It's 10:25 right now. I'm gonna give it another 15 minutes of just floating here in the Hudson before I go hit it. Just so if I'm behind, I'm getting into a higher tide and not anything against me. I mean, I could leave right now and I think I'd be okay. Right now, I'm just out here tooling around. I got a boat coming up on my side. Hopefully everything's good. But yeah, it's gonna be an exciting day. Well, a good thing about Navionics, and I got a Wi-Fi receiver hooked up to my AIS, which is plugged in to my Navionics. If there's any questions, you can leave me a comment on how I did that, or how I had my brother do that, honestly. And it works tremendously because I don't have to leave Navionics. And I can see where everybody's coming, everybody's going. I can tell if it's a ferry or not. The ferries have designated routes. Right now I'm pushing up through 2 knots of current, doing 5 knots. I'm hitting the Brooklyn Bridge a little bit earlier, or a little bit later than I wanted. I didn't know it was gonna take me this long to get up here. But it's almost 11 o'clock right now. It is 11 o'clock right now. But doing 5 knots instead of 4, I should be there right around slack tide, maybe a little bit after, just like I was planning. It's perfect for me. But as you can see, it's real choppy down here from all the ferries and having that 2 knots of current running down, 3 knots of current running down, bouncing off every concrete side. It just turns this into whitewater. But so far, not too bad. I'm pretty much out of the ferry district. So there's a few that cross back and forth up here, but that's not, they're easily timed compared to these guys. But there is what do you call it, Wall Street. And the Brooklyn Bridge and the Manhattan Bridge. We're getting there. I think after 2 hours of doing this, once I get out, I'll anchor and get some lunch. But so far, so good. More big waves. Going under the Brooklyn Bridge. There's the Manhattan Bridge right ahead of us. Now there's the Williamsburg Bridge I'm going under right now. I forgot to hit this soon enough. I figured I'll take a video of every bridge. In all my excitement, I missed a very important piece of information on this transit. So Roosevelt Island splits the East Channel, or the East River, right down the middle. You've got the West Channel, you've got the East Channel. You want to take, in either direction, the West Channel. The West Channel only has the Queensboro Bridge with a vertical height of 131 feet. So sailboats, you have no problem going underneath it. The East Channel, however, has still the Queensboro, which is tall enough, but you also have the Roosevelt Island Bridge. And the Roosevelt Island Bridge is only 40 feet high. It's a lift bridge. You have to give them a 2-hour notice to take the East Channel. And if you're playing tides like you have to with Hell's Gate, that 2 hours can really, you know, impede your transit through the East River. Now, typically the West Channel is always open unless the UN is in assembly, and if that's the case, they will close it down to recreational vehicles, and that'll force you to the East Channel. So do your due diligence, get a hold of the Coast Guard, look it up online, make sure the UN's not in assembly, and you should have no problem taking the West Channel. So I was just hailed. Again, I'm by 14th Street. About to go on the West Channel up the East River. And, you know, this is a good thing. You have to have working radios. You definitely have to have good working radios if you're going to transit this. And luckily, I have a remote handheld out. Not even a handheld. This is my actual radio is remoted out here. So it's top of the mast, good signal. But that barge right there just hailed me to let me know. Oh, that barge right there just hailed me. Rainier Twins, to let me know to hug the Manhattan side because they've got another equally that big of a barge coming down, and she doesn't want me to get in between them because, you know, the dynamics of water moving, it'll suck me into one or the other. So I'm getting over as close as I possibly can to the Manhattan side. So hopefully I don't get sucked into a barge, because we're just about to get into the narrowest parts. And my timing seems to be, I got about an hour before Hell's Gate. I might be a little bit early, but that's not a big problem because right now I've already picked up to 6.5 knots just because the currents dropped down that much. Luckily, I thought there's another sailboat that was trying to make his way up here. Yeah, there's another sailboat behind me on his way. So anyhow, let me get back to steering this big vessel. So now that tug, I can't remember her name, but just informed me, she just asked if I could let her go ahead a little bit so we're not going through the gate together. Rainer twins, right there. So right now I'm about 42nd Street, coasting at about 3 1/3 knots. I've got another sailboat behind me, but he's not on AIS, so I don't know who he is. But I think I'll end up going through together with him. But so far, this has been a pretty good trip. Everybody seems polite. Everybody seems to know what's going on. You know, I'm out of the ferry traffic, which it gets hairy down there at the end. It really does. Hopefully the gate's not that bad. I don't know. It seems like I'm going through with another sailing vessel, so I'm hoping my timing's right. I feel like I've done enough research on it that I'll be okay. But yeah, it's gonna be something. I know I've got to let her go a little bit farther ahead of me, just because when she makes that turn, she's going to be making a big turn. This is Hell's Gate. There's a tri-road bridge. But let me take this off. So I don't think my autopilot can hold it. You've got the Harlem River coming in right there. You can kind of see the tumultuous water where that boat is. But we're pretty much at slack tide. We're 15-20 minutes from slack tide. So we hit it, we timed it just right. Because you can imagine with these two pretty much river systems converging, I know East River's not really a river, but whatever. And you've got flow going that way and then an incoming tide. It turns this into whitewater right here. I mean, just big waves, lots of current going in different eddies. You know, right now it seems I'm doing all right. I'm gonna try to stay off shore just a little bit. I'm not sure if I've got to crab walk a little bit, but I really don't think so. I think I'm doing all right. That guy's still heading forward. So he's in some waves up there. I don't know why. But I'm going to keep going forward and then make the turn. I'm going to stay off away from that bank. That's a motor sailor, so I'm sure if I've got a 50 horse on it, he's probably got a freaking 75. But so far, I mean, we're doing 7 knots. Not that you can see it. 6.5, 7 knots right now. coming around Hell's Gate. Planes get to land right over your head. I'll have to look it up and let you know what airport that is. I kind of can't. I don't remember. But we're moving right along, 7 knots. I don't think you can see that. There you go, 7 knots. Still going the same throttle as I've always been. Wind's picking up, nice. So for my first time doing the East Channel, oh goddamn! So I have to say, the first time doing the East River, west to east, really wasn't as bad as I expected. You know, after talking, doing my due diligence, Googling and watching YouTube videos, you get some sense, but not a lot. But after talking to other sailors in this marina and finding out how crucial the timing is, that kind of makes you give it a little bit more sense of urgency, or alertness when you do it for the first time. But as you can see in the video, if you time it right, there's nothing to worry about. It's just like going through any inlet, anything that has a high tide flow, as long as you time it, there's no concern. And then of course the East River boat traffic, barge traffic, it's no different than out here in the Hudson. all your ferries on Navionics have designated lines. You can see the ferry lines, and as long as you and the ferries stick pretty much right on them. So as long as you're paying attention to that, where they are, AIS is definitely, having AIS at the helm helps out a lot, because then around the corners you can see if somebody's coming. The barges stick mostly right to the center, and as you can see in the video, everybody, you definitely want your radio on, because if the barges will hail you, and they're polite, and and they'll help you out, which helped me out. And really, once I got through it, it's really not that bad. I look forward to the trip back down. So once I got into the sound, I shot up. I did a little sailing, a little motor sailing, and then I chose where I wanted to stay. I was going to do Oyster Bay, and then I saw Cold Spring Harbor, which I like seclusion a little bit more than being around mooring balls and other people, so I chose Cold Spring Harbor. And as you can see in the pictures, it's a gorgeous place. Really, I had thunderstorms. There's always possibility of thunderstorms the next 3 days, so I chose this harbor just because of it's protected on all three sides, and it seems to be. I've got a good holding with my anchor, so that's working out good. Numa's proven to be a very, I guess everybody that owns an island packet loves island packets for how sturdy, how sound they are, and how well they handle anything, really. And I'm just always more and more impressed by how Numa handles. Yes, I don't point into the wind as far as other boats, which I knew that to begin with. And learning how to back up and all that stuff is all part of a full keeled boat, but I'm getting a lot better at that. I've learned I'm not going to show any of my docking videos anymore, because the last video I had docking that I didn't put on, it wasn't a great dock. But since then, since I stopped videoing my docking, I've docked okay, so. So I know my footage hasn't been the best. After editing this, going up, I've got a lot of up my nose shots. I apologize for that. The videos I'm still working on. So I'll try to do better on the way back down, and hopefully get better shots of the city and everything around me instead of just me. But hopefully that helps anybody that plans on transiting the East River from west to east, and it gives you a little bit more insight of what to do. Thank you for watching.